Hello, hello, and welcome to the latest edition of this Shady Lady podcast. I am Samir Roy, contributing editor and co-creator of this glorious, who knows how long it's going to be, moment of podcasting on RuPaul's Drag Race. I am joined, as always, by fellow contributing editor Margot Poupard and Lawanda Shade.
Welcome back to another week of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh my goodness. I was a little underwhelmed by this episode. I love that maybe they're making a tradition of doing a political episode every political year, because obviously did this 4 seasons ago. And I think Sharon Needles won that challenge.
What was the challenge called?
That one was they were running for drag president.
Oh, right.
But they were still doing it this time. It was the same kind of thing, only this was like they had to create campaign ads. The last
Smear
time it was
campaign ads.
Yeah, last time it was a debate, like a town hall debate.
There we go.
Thing.
I was like,
and that's what they did.
It was completely different than this.
Dan Savage was like the guest judge, and they did it again this election year, which I think it's very nice that he's they maintain awareness enough to do something similar again, which I wasn't mad at it being like a rehash. I was like, well, no, it's kind of like a tradition. It's another election year.
But they also didn't do the same thing. There wasn't a town hall debate. It was a completely different genre of politics.
And it should have been more fun than it was, I felt.
It just was it was not very fun. You're right. It was a lot like the Snatch Game
drag
buildup.
queen's version of political smear campaigns,
which should be just so
great.
shady.
I feel like if we watched it happen like in a club where maybe they were a little freer to say things than you would be on TV. I mean, they could be a little more offensive, in a club than they could be on TV.
I really feel like it shook out the way you kind of expected it. Because Bob really is the only comedy queen, and Thorgy is a comedy queen, but
clearly had problems editing.
She's always had problems editing, and it stems back from the New Wave episode, and she just has a million things, and she has no idea how to pick one. And even from the jump, she didn't have a clear or concise vision before she even went in to shoot her commercial, and it just none of it worked in her favor. And everybody else is kind of not known for their comedy, though I believe that they are all very funny and shady.
Yes.
And so, I mean, apart from Naomi, everybody else kind of didn't really break out of their shell, so to speak.
Right.
I kind of expected a little bit more from Chi Chi, because she is fairly shady.
Yes.
But it was just kind of underwhelming. Like Snatch Game. I just felt like, okay, that's fine.
I'm like, this could have been great, but it just really wasn't. Even the one that won, I wasn't really that impressed with.
Well, I feel like because everybody else's were so okay or so
that looked the best by comparison.
By comparison, it made it to the top.
It had its moments.
But that isn't to
Derek
say that
Barry
this isn't...
actually performed something that wasn't Britney for once, and it actually kind of worked. So I guess there was a small miracle there. He and Bob surprisingly worked well together, because the idea was that they got paired with their enemy, basically. Kind of like also season 4's Frenemies challenge, where they got paired up with the person that was perceived to hate them the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so right away they pair Bob and Derek and Thorgy and Chi Chi, because Thorgy had been talking already about how much he was pissed off at Chi Chi in the previous episode.
And last week on the runway, Bob said that Derek should go home, and Thorgy said that Chi Chi should go home. And I think that the thing that worked against Kim Chi, and Naomi Smalls is that they're really good friends. And so
Kim Chi's heart wasn't in the smearing part, which was the best part.
Right.
But RuPaul, I was surprised, this is one of those moments where RuPaul decided to show how much he knew about what's going on in the modern gay world, when he made that comment about the joke, no fats, no femmes, no Asians.
Yeah.
That there was something deeper, than just a silly joke there. It's funny because it's true.
Right.
Kind of moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I like that RuPaul got that. Because I think you could definitely say that was the intention behind the comment that Kim Chi made. But yeah, Kim Chi was not... Naomi was able to get over, because Naomi the personality can just sort of overpower even any maybe natural timidity at being actually mean to her friend. Like she's like, I think she's more able to get into the character.
Yeah, and I thought that she also stayed within her character with all of her posing, and even just like the way that she dressed was like fierce glamazonian politician. So I thought that Naomi actually pulled it off really well. And I mean, obviously her runway look was flawless too. It was
she looked good
incredible.
Again, so I'm like happy to see that she finally got away from like the robe and lingerie look that she'd been rocking for like half the
way
season.
way too many
I'm
challenges.
like, can you believe we're at the
way
top
too many runways.
5 now? After this episode, it's top 5.
Yeah.
And Derek Barry
is still here.
Is in the top 5. How did that happen?
But it's one of those things.
Other than
as soon as you watch the episode, it makes sense who went home.
Well, obviously, like you're not mad at the decision in this episode,
but how
the fact that Derek even got to this point.
Yeah, it is surprising because it's like probably one of the more talented groups that they've had like across
the board. And like the least talent, like I mean, Derek Barry's good at what Derek Barry does, but
he's good at Britney.
But that's like all we've really seen, and even that wasn't like super. None of the challenges really gave him the opportunity to be Britney each time. You know, he had to be something different, and so he hadn't been doing well at any of them. And I'm like, why are you keeping this? Why, like you're forgiving the poor performances over and over again, and then punishing people who maybe didn't have the best performance they could give, but it was still better than what we got from Derek.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's where the questioning for me comes in. I'm just like the Wizards of Drag challenge. It was like clearly like the 2 worst ones were Derek and Chi-Chi.
Mm-hmm. Like
they failed in every aspect of it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't look like there was the family resemblance between them and their partners. Like they completely failed in the representation of the characters they were supposed to be, like completely. Like even though Robbie Turner's outfit was terrible. Like really awful. Like at least you could see like the concept of the cowardly lion in the outfit.
Because I had huge problems with Chi-Chi's Dorothy outfit. It was insane. It had nothing Dorothy to it.
Nothing at all. Like you didn't even use gingham fabric. If you're gonna make that hideous thing, at least have something in it that says Dorothy, like very plainly.
Even
to
just
anybody.
The hair, like that. It's like
you
the
couldn't
simplest
do
thing that you could
pigtails
do
with a wig.
Yeah.
Like maybe you couldn't. I don't know. I've never had to wear wigs, but I feel like that's possible.
But I feel fairly confident that you could.
You know, and it's like they know what challenges they're supposed to be preparing for. Usually in the show, they're usually told most of the things. A lot of things they have to bring outfits for, so they have to know what they're bringing an outfit for. That's why, like, you hear comments like, was it the week before or the week last when Naisha was still there, and she was like, oh, she's got a problem because she already used her neon for the last challenge. And the challenge for the New Wave week was neon.
Mm-hmm.
But Chi-Chi had already worn the outfit that she had brought for the neon runway in a previous challenge, so she couldn't then use it for the one she'd actually brought it for. So it's like, that they know. It's part of the game. So I'm like, I feel like they would have been told that this was a challenge that they possibly would be doing. Maybe not who their partner was going to be, but...
And maybe not which exact character, but at least
I would bring a little something for everyone.
Right.
If I was packing for the show, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to bring something that screams Dorothy, something that screams... Like, each character, like the possibilities of the characters. I think the art... Just bring something green. You know what I mean? Like, you got to guess that something green is going to go with the Wizard of Oz theme. Like, you just know that. Like, there's just certain things you could have done to
Whether
prepare.
you're the witch or you're a person of Oz, like, a little bit of green is going to need to come through.
And they just didn't even have anything for, like, the main character of
Like, I thought Kim Chi planned it out pretty perfectly with those striped witch tights that she had.
Right? Like, it was like, you could tell that she was...
prepared.
And it was like a take on the witch that wasn't expected, but obviously read witch.
Exactly.
There was no mystery about what it was.
Yeah, which was not the case for Derek Barry or for Chi-Chi.
Like, if they hadn't told us what...
you guys are wearing? What are you guys wearing?
If they hadn't told us what they were, like, if they just come out of the runway, you're supposed to just... They just mentioned their names.
Those cell towers on Derek Barry and Tara's shoulders made me laugh so hard. It looked insane.
And so it's like, they kind of just moved past that at the beginning of this episode. They just kind of just... It's weird, like, that they didn't talk about, like, the last contestant more. They just kind of brushed past, like, Robbie going home.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, brushed past immediately the fact that Derek was like red for like his crazy outfit. Like it seemed like they moved past a lot of stuff
well,
really
I
fast.
feel like they maybe covered that a little bit in Untucked.
That's true. That's very true. But I mean, like, was there a mini challenge? Was there a mini challenge?
It was from this episode. It was that one where all of the pit crew and the pit crew's friend came out for Andrew Christensen.
Oh, the return of Andrew Christian. That's right.
Oh, Christian. What did I say? Christensen.
Yeah, but you're not
no
a gay
bother.
man, so you didn't know.
Well, actually, I did know who he was because of you. So I was like, "Hey, Samir has your underwear."
Oh, that's right. I have a lot of underwear though.
I know, but I remember you specifically told me about a pair that you had bought from this designer.
Yeah.
So I knew what was happening, and then there was a bunch of cute boys. Then I didn't really. I mean, I got the joke, like the bunk top or bottom joke, but I didn't really get the game.
At first I didn't, but I watched it again because who wouldn't watch that scene again?
Right.
Or 5 or 6 times with your friends. It was a good scene, but nonetheless.
I like how you're. It was a good scene.
Well, it was all written.
Like you saw fucking Shakespearean play. It was a great scene.
Well, it is his birthday, There's got to be something like this that happens in one play. Maybe a scene that Shakespeare cut out,
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it was like the What You Packin' challenge from season 5, the mini challenge. Well, that was even better because they had to like drop their pants to show you what color underwear they were wearing. Then you had to find the matching pair amongst like 20 models. Here, I finally got what this game was. It was like he would give them a fact about each model as they came up, and you would judge on the basis of that bit of information about that model whether they like to sleep on the bottom bunk or whether they're a top bunk person.
No, that's not what I didn't understand. What I didn't understand was the scoring.
Well, no, the scoring was based on how many of the correct answers you got.
Okay.
So the person who had like the least people on top.
Well, there was only one dude.
Well, no, I meant like because other people chose.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have 4 people that I think were top bunk, and then like 12 people that were bottom bunk. Well, Derek Ferry won the mini challenge because I think he only had 3 people, I think, on the top bunk and everyone else on the bottom. So we had the most matches for bottom bunk.
I see. Okay, thank you. That's what I didn't get.
So everyone else thought there were more people on the top bunk. Got it. And Derek had the least number that he thought were on the top bunk. So I think that's how it was scored. That's how it added up in my head. Mm-hmm. Because it's like because basically he had the most right answers. Because other people had fewer right answers because they had some of those people who should have been on the bottom up on the top, and gay men should be ashamed.
I finally get it. Thank you for explaining it to me because I don't understand how that math works.
It's like explaining time travel. It's just like you go in a circle and you're not sure if you're ever getting anywhere to make it seem like you can grasp it.
It's like the MC Escher of fucking games that they played. It was just like.
But that's how I think it worked out. It's a
paradox.
And then there didn't seem to be like any real benefit. What was the benefit of winning that challenge other than just seeing a bunch of hot dudes in underwear?
I think it was just that, right?
Because I'm like, you win. Was
there anything else?
I think like you got a prize.
Did he win underwear?
I don't think so.
Okay. But well, then I don't know.
But like it was like you got some sort of prize, something. But there was no because it used to be that you'd win and then you get like some sort of tactical advantage. Mm-hmm. For the main challenge, but I didn't really seem that way.
I can't even fathom what the tactical advantage in this would have been. Maybe more time filming.
You get to choose your partner, maybe, or something like that. But no, none of that happened because they got paired up by who they hated the most, as we mentioned earlier, or which ones have the most animosity between them, which left Kimchi and Naomi at a loss because they are not enemies; they're actually friends.
Right.
So that didn't but like we said, Naomi's video turned out really good. Kimchi's.
It didn't work in Kimchi's favor, unfortunately.
No, and Kimchi had enough content at least in some way, even though she made.
At least it was a cohesive video, which, I mean, we'll get to it, but
and there were
which Thorgy's was not.
No, and even when Thorgy was writing it, he had like page after page after page after page, and then after he wrote like 30 pages of notes about like reading Chi-Chi, he was like, the ad has to be 30 to 45 seconds. And it's like, well, what did you think it was going to be? Did you think you were going to be making like an hour-long special? Like, no, you weren't. You knew it was going to be, you should have known it was going to be short.
I know, it's an
And
ad.
that-
How much?
ad.
How long is even a common ad? Like,
I mean, old ads in back in the day used to be like 2 minutes by themselves.
Right, but we're
now
not
they're
talking
like
about
30.
that.
No, I'm saying like
Yeah.
even then that's all they were. 30 pages was still way too much for to 2.5 minute ad. There was no way it was gonna work. You know, he had to know that that 30 pages was just too much.
I know.
Like instead, like I guess he's writing the way you would if you were like really writing something.
Right.
Like you'd get everything out and then you'd edit it down. Well, honey, you don't have time to edit it down. You just got to pick the specific goal you want to accomplish with this thing. And then anything that doesn't fit into that goal is just thrown away.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think Thorgy fell in love with the material, which is mistake number 1. And just being like,
everything was so good.
Great. How am I going to decide? It's like, it's probably not all great. So just decide.
And then the ad was really weird because it's like her hand she's always got her hand out reaching for the bottle or whatever. And then she doesn't show, they even tell her like, Thorgy, do you maybe want a shot of Chi-Chi with a bottle since you just like made a big deal of that? Like, oh no, we're good. I'm like, oh.
I thought that was insane. How did you
then, not only that, it wasn't like because he didn't want to go to the trouble of having Chi-Chi with a bottle, because the next part of the ad is Thorgy drinking champagne out of a champagne flute and everybody else has a full champagne flute for like the end of the ad. I'm like, yeah. So you're showing yourself with the bottle.
That was my biggest problem with her ad, was like none of it made any fucking
I'm like,
sense.
you're the one drinking in the ad.
Reading Chi-Chi for drinking when that's not even, it's like it has to either go
for being an alcoholic, basically, is the implication. But then you show yourself drinking.
But you also have to go really far. I feel like she needed to
didn't
go
show
further.
any of it.
But go further than like she's an alcoholic and like.
But if you were gonna show alcoholic, like show it. Don't just say that one line and think that's enough to do it.
And it wasn't even funny. It was just like, okay.
It would have been funny if it had gone somewhere, like as a setup to go somewhere.
It didn't.
But she didn't do it. And it was just like, what are you thinking? And she didn't know what she was going to do when she got onto the set. Like, you should have known that wasn't going to go well, because remember what happened when Roxy Andrews did it for the perfume ad? And then, like, her spiel was different every new take was like a different version of what she'd said before. It was never the same thing. She had never completely finalized what she was going to say and do. And so it was kind of a disaster to have to film. And at this point, it's kind of like every season it ramps up. There's like the pressure to be better at each thing is more and more and more. That this same problem wasn't going to do her any favors.
It was hard
in the judges' eyes. And it was Michelle and Carson who were like directing it, who were both going to be judging.
Right.
Like, so you're like, everything that it takes to create the ad is going to be considered too. And then if the final product isn't that great, then. And so if the final product isn't that great, it's just, you had to know that she was going to be on the bottom.
It also sucks when someone that's also, like you said, the judge that's also directing the commercial, if they tell you or like suggest something that sounds like they're telling you to do something, just do it. Even if you don't agree with it, just do it. Because I feel like that reflects poorly upon you. You know they're going to bring it back up.
It's like just do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work when it gets edited
they're not
together.
They're not gonna edit it in to make you look bad. Like, they can only pull from the footage that you have, and you don't have that much footage, it seems like.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, it was kind of like only like 2 or 3 shots.
It was very strange, and I keep harping on, none of it had any cohesion. None of it went together. It didn't say anything, and it's unfortunate because I feel like the first 5 seconds were really strong, that she established this character very quickly, and then it just
fizzled out, and they were like, "Oh, very good, very good." And
it fizzled out even faster than that. It was an insane performance.
And then Chi-Chi's was just really
flat.
Nothing there. It was like there was some like she was like I think she decided too late to like stick with her like Southern woman like from the country stick, and like they had to convince her like. I mean, I like that she kind of stuck up for, like, well, why do we always have to do that? Something like that if we have to be funny, Like, why is that always the go-to? It's like, well, you can make it funny. Like, it's like, oh, you should stick with, like, something that you can make funny.
Right, because the deep voice that she did her first take in was just, it was jarring.
Yeah.
It just didn't even sound funny, and I feel like it made it harder to understand her because she was trying to put on this accent. Was it even an accent? What would you consider that?
Well, it was an accent. It was sort of like a Creole, like Southern.
Like the first take that was like, You must obey. I mean,
I don't know what it was.
It was, but I could understand her Creole Southern accent just fine because that's what she sounds like normally.
She's from Shreveport.
I know. So it was kind of flat. I think that she probably got thrown because she came in with an idea in her head and then when she had to readjust, I don't think that she can readjust that quickly. But I think she finally did kind of get the hang of things. But it was just kind of unfortunate that she had this like really severe wig on. I mean, not like the hairline or anything, but the cut of the wig was really severe.
Yeah.
It didn't really do anything for her
hair.
face. It actually made her, it just didn't do anything for her face shape. It kind of made her look a little plump. And then the whole PTA meeting outfit was not great. And I just feel like it wasn't as clear of a vision looks-wise. And then, but I felt like what she said, the content of her video was actually kind of funny, like the pot to piss in jokes and stuff.
And a window to throw it out of, you know.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like anyone on the judges panel kind of reacted to any of those laugh lines based on the character that they thought that she should have gone with.
Yeah. I felt like she just needed to be more forceful. It felt like she wasn't fully committing to the character.
That's true, you know, like she was trying to play a role and not be the role.
Mm-hmm.
To play the role, you know, I don't know, that makes no sense. But you know what I mean? It's like it was all on the surface. There was not, you know, she didn't really pull from inside anywhere. Like, and I don't know, I feel like everybody else who did something sort of had to like, you know, brush against some nerve to like make it funny, you know, like Bob and Derek's at least accomplished that. Like, I thought that was interesting. Like, you know, Bob was just like, fuck Derek Barry, like complaining that he had to work with him. I'm just like, you know, the thing, like they're making Bob out like the clear like Bianca Del Rio kind of this season. New York queen, comedy queen, insults everybody thing. But, you know, it's funny because Bianca, they never really, I guess maybe with Bianca you could kind of tell that there was a little bit of a heart still in operation there. Because you could, a couple times she kind of got a little testy, like she was offended or her feelings were hurt or something, and you saw her react to that, so at least you knew, you could tell. And then, of course, the interactions with the other queens behind the scenes turned out to be very motherly, you know, with a few of them. So you always saw that there was a fully well-rounded person there. And I feel like we haven't really seen that with Bob. Bob was a little nicer and untucked.
I feel like he usually is, though.
I don't know. I feel like but then also in Untucked, of course, he was nice to people's faces, and then when they're not there, you know, like the second Thorgy was out of the room is when he like went in, like in Untucked, and it was just like, I mean, it was just like, oh, finally, this is what people who've been complaining about how boring Untucked can sometimes get, because they're all nice to each other, and they are usually nice to each other.
Well, that was the best mood I've ever seen Derek Barry in.
Yeah, well, see, finally, when he does well and he's not being read the house down, you know.
Well, he kind of needs it sometimes.
I'm saying, like, you know, that affects his mood very obviously.
Right.
When it's not happening to him, he's in a better mood. So he was like very complimentary of the fact that Thorgy like doesn't rein himself into one specific thing.
Yeah, that was the nicest.
And then that's what I love about
I've
your
heard
drag.
him pay. Yeah, like it was so kind of him. It was almost took me back.
Especially after that
moment.
disturbing comment. Well, or it's not disturbing, but it was the dire warning that his grandmother gave him when he submitted that.
That
she's
was
like,
so
you're
sad.
a jack of all trades and you'll be a master of none. And he's like, I still hear that in my head.
I think Derek Barry was like, that was really dark.
Yeah, it was. It was just like, oh, wow. Well, it is the kind of thing that would live inside your memory for a long time. Like, it's hard to erase something like somebody's dying declaration to me was that.
I know.
Like, I mean, I hope that it came from a loving place where, like, she was trying to say, like, you know, just focus. I want you to focus. You've got it in you to be great. But she only knew how to express it.
But I feel like Bob, there's a little bit of truth to his read about Thorgy.
Sometimes, but it's also hypocritical because he has the same problem.
Oh, totally.
And he's just sort of not. Like,
he just talks to hear himself talk. And that was Thorgy's problem,
which was like, wait a minute, like when I do over the top, I'm criticized. I need to edit. You do over the top, and it just needs just as much editing, probably. But they don't say anything to you about it, or you're not or you're not actually penalized for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like coming out in that like threadbare Halloween costume with like not very good makeup for his runway look. It was like the second or third episode. It was like some silver like robot kind of like bodysuit thing.
Yeah,
that was like falling apart, and it was like didn't even look at. That's all he wore. There was no look there, and then like the thing that we ranted about last week for like at least 10 solid minutes. The
Peplum body,
with
peplum
in
body
white,
suit.
which is like
Would you wait? Hold on. Would you say that Yolanda Foster's white and nude illusion dress on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion show is that better or worse than Bob's peplum bodysuit?
I would think that. Oh god, that is a tough choice.
Right.
They're both fashion disasters.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Bob's makeup was more flattering. So.
Oh, Yolanda.
And that was really unfortunate because I loved her daughter as a guest judge.
She was fantastic.
She was one of the better guest judges because this week it was Vivica Fox, and I feel like they probably edited out her best moments. Because
she didn't say much.
It's like, oh, you should have, like, all her comment that they included.
They sounded the same.
Were focused specifically on how much they smeared each other. And I'm like, I don't know why Vivica Fox has been brought on as the smearing expert. Like, that seems to be, like, what her role on the judging panel was. I just wanted to see you really rip each other apart. I'm like, but that's, like, the same thing you've said about everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Did they edit out everything else, I guess?
I don't know. You're right. The smear expert angle was very strange. And like I said, it sounded like she had the same comment for everyone, and it was very weird to listen to. So I'm like, she had to have said something else.
Because I love Vivica A. Fox. Like, she's very entertaining.
She looked great. She was just oddly silent. And then there was that weird political guy who also had strange, like, half compliment critiques going on. I can't remember his name. Like John Roberts.
Something
he was just like
that.
some white dude. He just looked very like, hello, Ru. Like, he seemed like Robot Man. Like, it was really strange.
And like Vivica Fox was she was on RuPaul's podcast. She was like, he interviewed her on their latest What's the Tea.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so like lively and funny and had so many great stories, and it was just like such a much better showing than what she was edited down to on the judging panel.
I would have enjoyed way more if they left in more Vivica A comments than shown us more of the lip sync for your life.
Right, because
if
they
that was
showed
the trade-off, then I would have really liked more of the first thing that I said, and not the
because the
thing.
judges, gave the win to Derek and Bob for their video, which really was the best. So we're not arguing that at all. It wasn't like that great, and it feels like the amount of praise that Bob gets for what he does is not equal to the actual quality of what.
But the thing
is
that I felt like Bob actually did smear and had a cohesive vision.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I thought the Michelle Obama look came through, and I thought his jokes were really solid.
Derek
and they were
only has one baby for breakfast. Like, that was funny. It was funny. It just wasn't like
paid for by my Uncle Steve. You know he got money, girl.
Like, yes, the ad libs are always good with Bob, but I just felt like it was not the greatest thing I ever saw.
Well, I didn't think that Derek Barry's video deserved the amount of praise that it got. I didn't find it to be as funny as Bob's.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was the best thing Derek Barry had done. It actually worked.
I definitely think it's the best thing that he's done.
Brittany,
and he does a good Michelle Bachmann. I thought that was actually very apropos.
There were some good I was surprised because it was like, and even Bob was surprised. I was like, I'm really shocked. Like, Derek is
really
like
well together because they're
letting
both
go and like really performing, and I'm really impressed with what he's done.
Well, I think the bottom
and
really,
that was
being in the bottom really helped, and then I also think that they're both very competitive, and so they ultimately would make a better pair because like they don't give a shit whether or not they don't like each other.
Whether the other person is hurt by what they say.
Yeah, they don't.
But
care.
also was the fact that like Derek can be shady. We already know that. But it was more a matter of how they were going to work together and whether or not he could actually break out of that Britney mold for a performance challenge. And he really didn't have a choice. Well, I guess he could have just done Britney running for president, and it could all be like things that Britney would think would be wrong with like he could do that.
But Bob was the one that kind of gave the vision of like, let's just play up you being really dumb and me being really smart.
And then Derek's like, I like that.
Okay.
Derek liked the idea because he's like, okay, I can look. Because part of playing Britney is playing kind of dumb.
But I also think he realizes that the ingeniousness and the simplicity of just boiling it down to you're really dumb.
Well, that's
I'm really smart.
Every good storytelling,
exactly.
anything is. If there's a basic story around which everything is centered, a basic human like thing, like you can say that it's like it seems kind of stupid sometimes. You say like a film noir is about like a lot of them are about the inability to outrun your past. It's like it's a basic story that's like sounds very simple, but there's so much that comes out of it, kind of thing. It's like when you boil anything down to something that's succinct and you can stick to it. I think that you're like that's the best way to approach any of these challenges. We have so little time to do it. It's like perfect. I can and I think in his mind he could easily translate what he did into being like a dumb person, but I think he also knew enough to hate Michelle Bachmann type people to make that fun. It was a perfect idea for them. They each found something they could run with in that idea, and neither was offended about what either one had to say about each other. They had fun with it. It was like, I mean, like I said, the end result was funny. It just wasn't like the funniest thing I've ever seen on Drag Race.
Right.
So it's like...
And I would agree with that. It was funny, but compared to what everybody else brought to the table, of course it was the funniest.
Yeah. I was surprised that they had both of them winning. That they were both winners. And then, what are they? They got gowns.
Oh, yeah. From something.
I don't know, was it Marco again?
No.
Or something like that. But it was like, yeah, they both got like outfits. I'm like, oh my God, Derek Barry's going to get a non-Britney outfit. Like a nice one that someone else actually sewed. Oh, I hope they didn't hot glue any part of it. You know how he hates the hot glue.
Oh my goodness.
But it was like there was none of...
Glue-gate.
Glue-gate. I'm like, you guys like invented that. I hardly heard any comments about the hot gluing on the runway. But clearly that was, since what we saw was edited down... There's probably a lot more talk about it that they're like.
Well, there was a ton of talk about it in Untucked.
In Untucked, there was.
I can only imagine that was like a fraction of what was said. What I thought was super funny was how they showed how long Derek Barry was actually on the runway crying after he won.
Oh my God, that's right too. They're like, girl, that went on forever and ever. They showed like Bob like checking his watch, kind of thing, and I'm like. I mean, Bob is a bitch who would do something like that just to be bitchy.
But, I mean, honestly,
even if somebody
it seemed
was
like it went on for like 10 minutes. It was just a lot of the, and I just want to, and can I go now? Everyone's like, yes, Jesus, please.
It's like, well, you know, some people lose their minds in different places, and sometimes it happens right there. Because we saw Thorgy lose Thorgy's mind.
On Untucked, and she was all over the place.
That was like... what's going on in your head right now? But maybe that's like, I don't know. I won't say that. But clearly she's got some things to work out. I guess. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I feel like she was at the end of her rope.
I mean, it was also again, we say it every time.
Literally and figuratively.
Of this environment that doesn't always bring out the best in people. I mean, like, I'm just saying that Thorgy maybe doesn't have some of those issues outside of this kind of fishbowl atmosphere, but if they're just magnified when you have to, literally like scrunching everything into a short amount of time, it's going to come out more.
Yeah, I think the exhaustion and the toll it takes on you mentally and physically eventually will either push you to like reach new heights, or you're just gonna like kind of snap like Thorgy and just like walk around and be like, love you, I'll see you later because I'm totally gonna kick your ass in this lip sync for your life. Untucked was really an interesting look because once you watch the episode, as it even unfolds, it seems very obvious to the audience who the bottom two are going to be, which are Chi-Chi and Thorgy. But in Untucked, they were thinking it might be Derek. They were thinking it might be Kim Chi. It's like, what?
Because the runway, like, I thought it was interesting that they based the runway challenge of the episode on Detox's look from the finale of season 5. I mean, in that instance, Detox didn't do that makeup. That was done for her by a makeup artist. It was a makeup artist's idea that... for this look, from what I remember, I could be wrong about whether or not it was Detox's or the makeup artist idea, but it was definitely, from what I read, the makeup was done by someone else. So Detox did not do her own black, like a woman walked right out of a black and white movie look. But that was the theme for the runway, so I'm like, they based it on like an idea, on a look from the finale episode of a season in which that person didn't even win. But it's like based on that look. Everyone has to do that look. I was like, that was interesting. That was a big like nod to Detox, to how much they must still think of Detox compared to some of the queens that have come and gone since her. But it was weird. Like you could see the makeup like rubbed off by the time they got to the runway on some people. Like that was an odd thing for me. I'm like, Naomi Smalls was like well regarded for her outfit, but she even acknowledged that it was a direct copy of Raven's outfit from like season 2, and I'm just like, Well, I mean, it looked good. She looked good. They kept making a big deal about her pads, about her using pads, and such a big deal that she was using pads. I'm like, but isn't that like a normal thing for most queens is to pad?
I don't know. Remember when they praised Bob over his padding for the Madonna look that he did? I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Like, I know. I get that. Like, if you see exceptional job of it, that's impressive. But like, just the fact that someone put padding in was like something that impressed everyone about what Naomi did on the runway, and I was just like, I don't understand why it's impressive. Just the fact of putting padding in. Like that in itself.
I didn't really read it that way. I feel like maybe she hadn't used any pads at all.
I don't think she had.
And maybe this is just like a different look for her. And we have the benefit of...
That's true. That makes more sense.
We see them every week. But they must be seeing them every couple of days.
So
and so you're looking at all these different looks.
New look. Because it's like...
And so maybe their enthusiasm was maybe a little overstated and included a little too much. Okay. Because we're like, I don't get it. She looks the same kind of...
Yeah, she still look really thin.
Yeah. But maybe
still
she looks
much
more
thinner
hippie.
Than me.
Yeah. But I have to agree with what everyone's saying, that like if Naomi doesn't get a modeling contract at the end of this, I will be shocked.
Right? Like it just seems natural. Like how can you not... Why would you not want her? She clearly knows how to model women's clothes.
Yes.
And if you want to sell the clothes, like you don't... You know what I mean? It just makes sense to me. I mean, if she can tuck well enough so that it doesn't show... in any of the outfits, I don't see why she shouldn't model on the runway. She'd be a great runway model.
Oh my gosh. She has that walk down, so I don't understand.
She can work a garment, honey.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that her black and white realness look still worked.
I thought it was one of the better looks.
It was like the shading of the gray was like right on, and like the way... the highlights in her face, like everything looked like she actually walked out of a black and white movie. Because some of them, even though Chi-Chi's look was pretty amazing, I loved that dress and I loved the jeweled things hanging off of it.
Me too, but
the makeup for me...
Thank you. It was a little too ghastly.
It was a little too ghastly. It was just like, it was more... like more Bride of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
And Bride of Frankenstein is supposed to look like she's painted white, kind of. And it, like, that's the look, even though because she's supposed to look dead and colorless. But it's obvious that she's painted white. And it's like, that's not quite what the challenge was to be like.
Exactly.
Like, this is what you would look like if you walked out of a black and white film. Although I wasn't mad at Kimchi because I loved Kimchi's look so much. I thought it was so cool.
And especially
when she actually started crying, and it made it like look so much more heartbreaking because the sad face was already painted on her face.
Exactly. I was like, wait, is she for real sad?
It was a true meta moment. Like I was just like, is that just how effective her makeup is, or is her face? Are the muscles in her face actually expressing sadness?
It was kind of crazy.
On top of the makeup making
it looked so cool.
Her character looked sad.
I mean, I know that she was sad, but she looked great.
That was the
fiercest sadness I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a magical moment right there on the runway, even though it was a sad moment. It's kind of like when that one girl was in season 3 when they went to Japan, and the one they just had the look of a model.
Oh, top model. I was like, wait, when did Drag Race go to Japan?
Cycle 3 when they went to Japan.
I remember now.
And the girl that they said like they couldn't get anything real out of her, and then in the judging, she starts crying, and the Japanese like designer who's like, see now with the tears, you look beautiful. Like there's something real coming out of you.
Yeah, I remember
but that. It's like that kind of
that
was
like... also fucked up.
That was fucked up. But I mean, I understood what she meant because you saw like it actually did make her more beautiful. She suddenly like softened like a tiny bit. She had been softened, and something about just the little glisten in her eye. Finally, there was something gleaming coming out of her was, I think, what made them say that. So it made it a true statement for me, at least. Not that she wasn't already pretty, but it was like that kind of like, oh, like the getting emotional adds something more to your look moment. Only it just like doubly amplified the look that she already had on because she started feeling the face that she painted on. Like her real face was feeling the face that she had painted on top of it. So it was just like this weird moment where like they kind of melted together, the makeup look and the person behind it became one, like in that weird moment. And I think it's the only time we've really seen that on the show this season.
Yeah.
A moment like that. So it was kind of special.
I appreciate what, I think it's either Rue or Michelle Visage said to Kimchi, which is like, this is just a really strong bunch of girls. And at this point, there's so few of you left. Like, you're going to hear some stuff that we maybe, like, earlier on wouldn't have criticized you for. But here we are.
Now we're, but you know, it's the ad itself. I mean, she deserved to be criticized for the work in the ad. Like, I'm not saying that at all. So I wasn't mad at the criticism. I was happy that
Me
she
neither.
wasn't in the bottom two.
I feel like her runway look must have saved her because it was so great.
And they said it, but they even said in Untucked, like, now sometimes the runway look doesn't count for as much as you think it will. You know, so I was like, you know, and that's kind of how I felt too, because, you know, sometimes certain aspects that you think are going to count for more end up not counting for as much as you hope they would in terms of keeping somebody there. Because we've seen some people go home that I don't think should have gone home necessarily by now, or you wouldn't think of. But then it's also shocking to be like, and now after this elimination, it's 5 people left. 5. We're already that far into the season.
So do you want to talk about Thorgy and Chi-Chi's lip sync? That was kind of
You know, they made a big deal out of it, I think, because I've seen all the episodes of this show.
Have they done this song before?
No, they have not done this song before. It didn't make sense in the context of this episode. You know, like sometimes the songs would sort of go with it. Sometimes it would just be like a new RuPaul song, or it'll be like a really popular like gay some song that's popular with the gay musical fan community. You know, like Applause was a Lady Gaga song.
Exactly.
So that was one this season. But I didn't see how this song works for it's kind of the theme of every lip sync. I'm not going, you know.
Fair point.
You know, but like, you know, the moment, I thought it was interesting in Untucked that
that
Bob was giving them like, it was actually like probably the nicest thing he ever did. He's like he didn't want the people that he thought was going to go home or go to the bottom 2. He didn't want them to go in without every possibility of winning.
But I found it very ironic that Chi-Chi was telling Kimchi, like, all right, and when she goes, you, and you, like, point and make eye contact.
Yes, because that's exactly what Chi-Chi ends up doing, because Chi-Chi and Thorgy...
She predicts her own future.
She's like, she basically is like, oh, well, I'm going to take my own advice now. Looks like I'm going to have to do this and not Kimchi. But it felt like who was Bob telling first? Like, Derek?
I think so. Yeah, I think
he was telling Derek. Telling Derek.
Yeah, it was Derek, because he was like, Derek, do you know the history of the song? Like, do you know this play?
Yeah, and then Derek's like, oh yeah, it happens right here, and this is what happened, like, it's what happens when this happens, and this is what's going on around this, and then he gives them, like, the whole, like, you know, trying to impress upon the people that he thinks it's going to be lip-syncing, like, what you should be trying to go for, like,
and how in shambles Jennifer Holliday's life was at that point.
Like, she lost everything.
And she's pregnant.
Yeah, it was a bad moment for her. But it ended up being Thorgy, who was not even there to hear a lot of it, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I don't know where Thorgy was, but Thorgy was not in
Thorgy's performance, I mean, didn't really go with the song at all. That was the thing, is that the spirit of the song was not in that performance, and at least you could see that the spirit of the song was in Chi-Chi's performance, although I didn't think that it was so great that they needed to show, like, almost the whole thing, like, the whole song unbroken. Like, they didn't edit the song down. Or,
maybe Rue just really likes that song.
From what they use it. No, because usually the show edits that scene down for us. And this time the show kept, like, the whole thing in. I mean, it was still cutting between the two competitors, but it didn't, like...
No, like, the whole song, you mean, has been uncut.
From where they started the song... It wasn't like,
it's the radio version.
All of it.
It's not abridged.
It was like the 3 minutes or whatever it is. I was like, I thought they always edited the song down for the lip sync anyways.
They sometimes take out like a chorus here or there. Like in Applause, I feel like they cut a chorus. Or maybe they just pick songs that are 3 minutes and under. I mean, I don't really know. But I feel like I've definitely heard songs where like it was shortened a little bit.
And at least what
But that Icona Pop song from last week really is like 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, and we only saw like, it wasn't a 2.5 minute lip sync.
No, but it still is pretty short, yeah.
But this one we saw like the whole portion of the song that they used for the lip sync it feels like is what we saw in terms of the lip sync as well.
Probably.
And like RuPaul was sort of like gazing as if like she was seeing something like amazing, like something truly amazing, like, oh, I'm seeing this person sort of
I thought Thorgy looked out of place, and I thought Chi-Chi was just kind of almost like phoning it in, like a third time. I can't imagine that you're entering that ring with any sort of enthusiasm.
Right. I mean, there was like some moments where she definitely like threw all her energy into it too.
Right. I'm not trying to say that she was terrible or anything. I'm just saying
didn't think it was as great as the show was making it out to be. Like, they were trying to convince us too hard that this was like one of those like emotional, amazing, brilliant lip sync performances, the kind that you wait for. I'm like, no, I really don't think that this was that. I didn't get that feeling from it. I didn't get the feeling from it that I got from like Latrice doing "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," or from you got to use your imagination, the Gladys Knight song. Like, those two like really like powerful emotional performances. It wasn't like the whip my hair back and forth kind of intensity. There wasn't that.
Yeah, it wasn't intense. It felt like the stakes were really low.
Like, I felt like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they've kind of made Chi-Chi the ingenue. She's not an ingenue, but she's like the Adore Delano, who's like kind of tore up sometimes, but clearly has the skill and the entertainment factor, the ability to truly like really perform and get into, I feel like she's that this season. Like, definitely like she's gonna be the one of the top three. I almost feel like
she's the Tyra Sanchez without the tude.
Well, Tyra Sanchez had better looks. Tyra Sanchez had she only had 3 pairs of shoes, but she had an amazing look every single week, and she could make an amazing look. Like, she had that down. Like, it was stunning every time she came out on the runway, whatever she had on. There was never a bum look. Chi-Chi has not been that kind of queen this season. She's had a lot of bum looks. Just like Bob has had a lot of bum looks. I felt like Bob has not actually been rocking the runway this season, but he just doesn't seem to affect his standing in the competition the way it's affecting other people, which is a little unfair because there are other, but he's also, I guess, made the fewest mistakes in most of the
critical errors,
challenges, except for the one where he blew up with Lucian Piani, but on the day he
apologized immediately,
and his performance at least was better than what it was in the rehearsals. He's not really like screwed up on anything besides the runway, so it's like, I guess they kind of feel that in all fairness it should be there, but that's not what we have with Derek Barry. Derek Barry's still there, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. Well, any other parting thoughts? I'm sad to see Thorgy go. I really enjoyed Thorgy a lot.
I did too.
But I do think that Thorgy is up in her head a lot, and that she has not an inability to edit, but like not edit on a time crunch, which not everybody's good at that.
Very true. Very true. And it looks like there's going to be a week break for the show. Like, and looking at when the next episode airs, it says it's airing on May 2nd, and it's although the description online is calling it their final challenge, I'm like, since when is the final 5 the final challenge?
I don't know.
Like, it's usually this, like we said earlier, we were talking about it before the cast, that usually they usually save the makeover challenge for when there's 5 people left. And then the next challenge is when there's 4 people left. That's the episode where there's a ball, like the ball of whatever theme that they have for the ball. Like glitter ball, sugar ball.
What was last year? No, it wasn't sugar ball. What was it?
No, sugar ball was season 5. It was last year's ball.
It's fine.
Not memorable, I guess.
It wasn't. I think we actually complained about it, and I think it also happened earlier in the season.
That's right.
So
that's why we're thinking maybe because this next episode that's airing in 2 weeks is like the music video challenge, and that's usually the top 3. That's usually you get to the top 3. And the top 3 are in the music video, and it's like that's part of how they're evaluated in the finale. So I'm like, like in season 5, it was like the courtroom scene and like the car scene and the chiffonography and the hairography, like that was all part of the music video. And then you saw the music video, and then they were judged on like each of those things. I'm just like, wait a minute, what? They're doing the music video with 5 people left now?
I don't know. We'll have to cross-reference check that whole week off thing, because it doesn't make any sense, because I feel like they would at least put a clip show in if that was the case.
And the clip show is always after they've determined the final 3, because they always have a special segment on each of the 3 finalists in the clip show. So it's like, is this just their effort to like change things up so you don't know when to expect things?
Well, we'll have to cross-check RuPaul's Twitter, the Drag Race Twitter, Logo's website, and we'll reconfirm.
We gotta do all kinds of research.
But if you are subscribed to us, then you'll never have to miss a podcast. So it really won't matter if they take a week off or not, because you won't have to think like, oh, what day did they say they'd come back? What week are we off from Drag Race?
It'll just
know.
be there. Like,
so before we sign off, do you have any top 3 predictions? Because I feel like mine have changed slightly. Because I definitely thought Torju was going to be in the top 3. So now I have to like reconfigure my whole thing.
I'm definitely thinking Bob.
Yeah, I feel like
top
that's
3.
written in the stars.
Let's see. I'm not Derek Barry. I don't think Derek Barry.
Really? Because I feel like if they've kept him around this long, they might.
I think they'll cut him loose before the final 3.
Okay.
That's my prediction for that. I think definitely Bob. I think maybe Chi-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping Kim Chi, because I feel like Kim Chi would rock. She's always gonna rock the fashion challenges and like a ball. Like if she makes it to the ball, that's gonna be the real thing. But see, the music video challenge might be the big challenge. So it's weakness. Like it's like one of those moments where like someone gets eliminated right before the challenge when they would have been perfect. Like whatever the finale will be, I don't know, maybe it will be like Kimmy Jong-un portrayals or something. Where is she made up that stupid?
No, I know, no.
But like, you know what I mean? There'll be some theme that will be like, it'll be like pop art realness or something, and she'll be like, "Ah, no! Like I could have done
Kimberly
that so." So I'm like, it's having that kind of feeling to me, which would be really unfortunate because I don't know that Naomi Smalls is going to have that great a collection for the ball. I'm just guessing.
I don't know.
Because
I feel like
she said she brought like 6 of those outfits with her. She only wore like 4 of them.
Well, she might just have to scrap them all together. I'm sure that was part of her plan. Or maybe she'll wear part of it. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I personally think that Naomi might be in the top 3 now.
I was thinking that that's a possibility too. Like
I think it's Naomi, Bob, and Wild Card. Like I don't know. I feel like they could
Naomi, Bob, and it's either Chi-Chi or Kimchi.
Yeah, you don't think they would keep Derek? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, who was the other person we didn't remember?
Chi-Chi.
Chi-Chi, Bob, Derek, Naomi, and Kimchi.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's like, if it comes down to Kimchi having a lip sync, I don't think Kimchi's going to win the lip sync. I'm hoping she does it like this. Maybe she'll surprise us again because she's sort of, I don't know, I didn't really write her off at the beginning. Other people did about saying that she couldn't perform, she'd do bad. And really, this was the first performance challenge that she wasn't really good in. Mm-hmm. All the other ones, she's actually been really funny and really on. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a matter of getting better at each of them each time out. It was like, no, I think she actually just could do it. And when you gave her the opportunity to do it, she showed you that she could do it. But everyone sort of just automatically underestimated her for whatever reason. But this was the only one that I think that she really had a problem with. Still not exactly sure why that is, that she had such a problem with it. But she's the wild card for me. It's like, I feel like Naomi.
She said, she called it out in Untucked, which is she focused more on the campaign aspect instead of the smear aspect. And I think that did her no favors.
That's true, because it was a cohesive theme, but it was only her campaign that was
it was all around food and like making food jokes, which is fine. I get that that's her shtick, but it should have been towards Naomi, not about herself.
Yeah.
But I think that Kim is maybe a little bit self-deprecating. So I don't know. I think that it'll definitely be Bob and Naomi, and I don't know. It's a toss-up because I kind of feel like that third spot could go to anybody.
I think it's going to be Kimchi there's only 3 people, so saying Kimchi or Chi-Chi is only 2 out of the 3 left. So
I also think that they could keep Derek. I am on a different boat, because I feel like they might keep him. They've kept him around so far, I feel.
I really don't. I would be one of the worst final 3 people ever. Like, ever. I mean, but then again, last year, I mean, I know a lot of people liked Pearl, but I didn't think Pearl had earned her way to the final 3.
I didn't think so either. But I still liked Pearl.
I still like Pearl.
But I don't like Derek Barry, and I certainly wouldn't think that he worked his way to the top 3, but I could see it happening.
I just can't. I just can't.
Well,
but then
it's to see who is the victor at the end of this.
Yes, perhaps we should bet a bottle of champagne on it.
I'll take you up on that bet.
Okay.
I'm pro Barry top 3 in your con.
Well, you're not really pro.
Well, I don't want him to be. Yeah. No.
You are belief that that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
Not what you would choose to happen.
Yes. All those things.
Okay.
What he said.
What I said. Oh, I guess that's the end of our podcast for this week. I guess you can, of course, find us in your little podcast inbox if you just subscribed on iTunes for free. through the Gambit Digital Network. Of course, you can also find us at the Gambit Digital YouTube page where you can listen to us for free. And of course, you can subscribe to that. You can also find us on the website
at gambitmag.com.
You can find me on Twitter and my little girlfriend here on Twitter at what's your handle, darling?
You can find me at Margs, she wrote.
And my handle is at Samir Raculous.
And
Samir Raculous. Get it?
Until next time.